Hey NFL fans, before we dive into today's hottest stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update from NFL News Now. The San Francisco 49ers are back on the field, gearing up for a pivotal Week 8 clash against the Houston Texans at NRG Stadium this Sunday. And all eyes are on the injury report that's shaping the team's preparation this week. Head coach Kyle Shanahan met with reporters Wednesday afternoon to deliver an update that, while offering some encouraging signs, still leaves fans holding their breath about the status of several key players. The Niners, coming off a frustrating loss to the Atlanta Falcons, are in that tricky mid-season stretch where the line between recovery and performance becomes razor-thin, and managing the health of the roster could make all the difference as they try to get their season back on track. Starting at the top, there's a glimmer of optimism. Quarterback Brock Purdy, who missed last week's game with a toe injury, is back on the practice field. Shanahan confirmed that Purdy will be a limited participant during Wednesday's session, marking a crucial step toward his potential return this Sunday. It's a cautious approach. The Niners aren't ready to push him into full action just yet, but it's enough to spark hope that he might be cleared to play against Houston. Purdy's absence last week was felt deeply. Without their starting quarterback, San Francisco's offense struggled to find rhythm and consistency, showing flashes of brilliance but too many moments of miscommunication and missed opportunities. Now, seeing him back in pads, even in a limited role, is like a shot of adrenaline for a team that desperately needs its leader back under center. What stands out about Purdy's situation is the tone Shanahan struck when discussing it. He didn't sound overly cautious or vague. Instead, he spoke with that measured confidence that 49ers fans have come to recognize as a sign that the staff feels good about a player's progress. The toe injury has been bothersome, limiting Purdy's mobility and ability to drive the ball with his usual precision. But according to reports from the team facility, his movement looked noticeably better in recent rehab sessions. If he continues trending upward, it's not out of the question that Shanahan could give him the green light for Sunday. And let's be honest, even at less than 100%, Purdy's presence changes the entire complexion of this offense. His command of Shanahan's system, his quick reads, and his knack for extending plays have become essential to how the Niners operate. Having him back, even in a limited capacity, could provide the spark the team needs to shake off the funk that's been hanging over them. But while the Purdy news brings a hint of relief, the rest of the injury report is a reminder of how brutal the NFL season can be. Several key contributors were either ruled out or heavily limited during Wednesday's practice, and that's where the concern starts to creep in. Rookie wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, who's been dealing with a knee injury since Week 4, remains sidelined. Pearsall's absence has been quietly significant. His route running and reliable hands were beginning to carve out a valuable niche in the offense before the injury derailed his momentum. With Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk shouldering most of the receiving load, the Niners have missed that extra layer of depth that Pearsall brought to the mix. Shanahan didn't offer a concrete timeline for his return, which suggests the team is being cautious, but every missed practice rep makes it less likely he'll be ready for Sunday's matchup. Then there's the defense, a unit that's been the pride of San Francisco for years, but has lately been stretched thin. Cornerback Deommodore Lenoir, who has been battling a quad issue, did not practice, and his potential absence looms large. Lenoir has been one of the few bright spots in the secondary this season, showing improved footwork and confidence in man coverage. Without him, the depth at cornerback becomes alarmingly thin. Shanahan mentioned that both Renardo Green and Upton Stout will be limited, meaning the cornerback rotation could be in flux heading into Houston. That's a nightmare scenario when you're facing a Texans offense that thrives on timing and spacing, with C.J. Stroud distributing the ball all over the field. If Lenoir can't go, the 49ers might have to lean more heavily on their safeties to compensate, which could expose other areas of the defense to big plays. Adding to the defensive worries, two key pass rushers, Bryce Huff and Yetur Gross-Matos, were also sidelined with hamstring and knee issues. Huff's injury came during the Falcons game, and it was immediately clear something wasn't right. He's been an impact player on third downs, a relentless force off the edge who consistently generates pressure, even when he doesn't record sacks. Losing him, even for a week or two, would be a major blow to a defensive line that's already without the same depth it enjoyed earlier in the season. Gross-Matos, dealing with multiple issues, both knee and hamstring, also remains out, and that compounds the challenge. When the 49ers' front four is healthy, it's one of the most feared units in football. But when guys like Huff and Gross-Matos are missing, it forces Shanahan and defensive coordinator Steve Wilks to dip deeper into the rotation, relying on younger players who haven't yet proven they can consistently collapse the pocket. On the offensive line, center Jake Brendel is another key absence. Brendel strained his hamstring in the loss to Atlanta, and as anyone familiar with O-line play knows, a hamstring injury can linger for weeks. He's been a stabilizing force in the middle, responsible for both protection calls and maintaining the chemistry of the line. His replacement last week did an admirable job under the circumstances, but there's no substitute for Brendel's experience and leadership, especially when facing a Texans defensive front that's built to exploit any weakness in protection. The hope is that he'll progress quickly, but for now, it's another wait-and-see situation that leaves the offensive line juggling combinations once again. There is, however, one more piece of encouraging news, and it comes from the trenches. Guard Spencer Burford is set to return to practice after being on injured reserve since September 20th with a knee injury. Burford's comeback could not be better timed. Even though he'll be limited, his presence alone provides much-needed depth and competition on the interior line. The 49ers have been missing his physicality and ability to anchor the run game, and if he can ramp up through the week, it's possible Shanahan could activate him in time for Sunday. That would give the offense a subtle but important boost in both protection and power running situations. And then there are the veterans, the two pillars of this 49ers offense who won't practice Wednesday, but for a much different reason. Running back Christian McCaffrey and left tackle Trent Williams are both taking scheduled rest days. Shanahan has been meticulous in managing their workloads throughout the season, and this is no different. McCaffrey, the engine of the Niners offense, continues to play at an MVP caliber level, and keeping him fresh is a top priority. The same goes for Williams, the all-pro tackle whose presence is vital to both the passing and running games. These rest days are strategic, part of the long game that Shanahan has mastered, protecting his veterans now so they can be at full strength when it really matters in December and January. As practice ramps up through the week, the tone inside the 49ers facility will likely shift from cautious optimism to quiet urgency. They know that every game in this stretch counts. Facing the Texans won't be a walk in the park. Houston has emerged as one of the league's most improved teams, led by a young quarterback who's playing beyond his years and a defense that has shown surprising toughness. For San Francisco, the key will be getting as close to full strength as possible, particularly on the offensive side, where timing and chemistry are everything. If Purdy can return and the offensive line stabilizes, this team has the tools to rebound in a big way. Still, there's an underlying sense that this moment, this stretch of adversity, could define the 49ers season. Every contender goes through it. The injuries pile up, the schedule tightens, and the margin for error shrinks. But how a team responds is what separates the real contenders from the rest. For Shanahan and his crew, that response begins now. With the playoffs still months away, the 49ers can't afford to let one rough patch derail their rhythm. They've been here before, beaten up, counted out, and still found a way to rise. The question this week is simple. Can they do it again, starting with a healthier quarterback and a renewed sense of urgency? The answer will come soon enough. But as of Wednesday, the message from the 49ers camp is clear. Cautious hope, controlled preparation, and a belief that reinforcements are finally on the way. Purdy's limited participation might not sound like much, but in a locker room desperate for stability, it represents progress. And in late October, progress is the one thing every NFL team is fighting for. The 49ers may still be walking a fine line between health and heartbreak, but with Shanahan at the helm and their star players inching back, this team still believes its best football lies ahead. The injuries are real, the setbacks are frustrating, but the story of the season isn't written yet. And if history is any indication, the 49ers still have plenty of fight left in them. Keep watching as we analyze more details about some rumors. Breaking news, folks. And when I say breaking, I mean the kind of news that will shake the very foundations of the NFC and send shockwaves through the entire league. The San Francisco 49ers have officially closed the deal on one of the most intriguing and, frankly, game-changing acquisitions of the offseason. TREY Hendrickson is coming to the Bay Area. Yes, you heard that right. After weeks of speculation, rumors, and endless what-if scenarios circulating across sports media, the 49ers have secured the services of one of the most feared pass rushers in the NFL today, and it might just transform their defense into an unstoppable force when the playoffs roll around. Now, let's break this down, because this isn't just another signing. This is a seismic move that could redefine the NFC landscape. TREY HENDRICKSON, for those who may not be completely up to speed, is not your average edge rusher. He's the kind of player who makes quarterbacks sweat from the first snap to the final whistle. Fast, agile, and devastatingly precise, Hendrickson has a way of reading offensive schemes that borders on clairvoyance. He doesn't just chase quarterbacks, he hunts them. He understands angles, timing, and leverage in a way that elevates an entire defensive front. And now, imagine pairing him with Nick Bosa and Fred Warner in a system that already knows how to get after the passer. We're not talking about a slight upgrade here. We're talking about turning what was already one of the league's most feared defenses into a near-apocalyptic pass-rushing machine. Rumors had been swirling for weeks, with every outlet speculating whether Hendrickson would end up in New Orleans, Miami, or maybe even a surprise landing in Las Vegas. But the 49ers were quietly, meticulously working behind the scenes, and apparently, it all came together with a mix of strategic vision and sheer determination. Sources close to the team have hinted that the front office identified Hendrickson not just as a talented player, but as the missing puzzle piece for a team with serious championship aspirations. And when you start connecting the dots, it makes sense. The 49ers already have one of the most disciplined, intelligent defensive units in the league. Adding Hendrickson isn't just about speed and sacks. It's about layering complexity, creating chaos in the backfield, and giving defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans multiple ways to terrorize opposing quarterbacks. Let's talk impact. On paper, the numbers are impressive. Hendrickson has consistently been in the double digits for sacks in recent seasons. He has the ability to pressure quarterbacks in multiple ways: straight bull rushes, lateral moves off the edge, and, critically, the kind of relentless pursuit that forces hurried throws and turnovers. Pair that with a secondary already capable of capitalizing on mistakes, and you suddenly have a domino effect where one play can snowball into a scoring opportunity or a complete momentum shift. And in the playoffs, momentum isn't just a factor, it's often the deciding factor. One timely sack, one forced fumble, one tipped pass can change a game, a series, and maybe even the trajectory of a championship run. The whispers around the league now are electric. Rival teams are reportedly scrambling, trying to assess how to adjust. The NFC West, already a gauntlet with the Seahawks, Rams, and Cardinals, just got a lot more treacherous. Imagine the scene in the locker rooms of opposing quarterbacks. Film sessions dominated by Bosa on one side, Warner lurking as a versatile linebacker, and now Hendrickson barreling off the edge like a man possessed. It's the kind of defensive nightmare that could completely alter game plans. And let's not forget, this isn't a one-off. The 49ers have built a culture where discipline, preparation, and execution meet elite talent. Hendrickson fits perfectly into that philosophy. The buzz is real, and if early reports from insiders are anything to go by, the 49ers see him not just as a temporary boost, but as a long-term cornerstone for the defense. Fans are already buzzing online, imagining scenarios that border on fantasy football level hype, but are actually rooted in legitimate potential. The discussions range from 49ers pass rush will be unstoppable in January to opposing offensive lines will be in therapy by week 3. Social media is alive with speculation about Hendrickson's fit in Kyle Shanahan's system. While Shanahan is known for his offensive genius, pairing a lethal pass rush with his methodical, ball control offense could be the formula for a near-perfect season. The offense keeps the clock running, limits mistakes, and the defense, now turbocharged with Hendrickson, turns every opportunity into a dagger for opposing teams. We're talking playoff-level strategy here, the kind of chess move that can ripple all the way to the Super Bowl. Of course, every move comes with a touch of uncertainty. Chemistry, health, and adaptation to a new scheme are always factors. Hendrickson has proven versatile, but joining a team with championship expectations carries pressure unlike any other. The media will scrutinize every snap, every sack attempt, and every tackle. But if history is any indicator, Hendrickson thrives under pressure. His career trajectory suggests a player who elevates his game when stakes are high, exactly the type of presence a team like San Francisco needs when the playoffs roll around. The whispers in the locker room suggest an immediate leadership role, not in words alone, but in the way he carries himself on the field, a silent threat who commands respect simply by being present. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Analysts are already speculating about the matchups. Imagine Hendrickson facing off against elite quarterbacks who rely on clean pockets, timing, and precision. Suddenly, the 49ers' pass rush isn't just a nuisance, it's a game-altering weapon. And with the way Shanahan builds his team, it's not just about raw talent. It's about creating situations where the opposition is forced to make mistakes. Hendrickson gives them another dimension, a layer of unpredictability that makes defensive scheming against the 49ers almost impossible. The buzz is palpable, the rumors justified, and the potential storyline of the 49ers' defense dominating the playoffs is already one of the most talked-about narratives heading into the new season. In conclusion, the signing of TREY HENDRICKSON is far more than a routine off-season move. It's a calculated, strategic strike that positions the 49ers as legitimate title contenders, not just in the NFC West, but across the entire NFL. The blend of talent, experience, and sheer defensive firepower now at San Francisco's disposal is staggering. Rumor has it that Hendrickson's presence alone has altered the way other NFC teams approach free agency, draft strategy, and even game planning for the upcoming season. The pass rush, which has always been a point of pride for 49ers fans, is no longer just a point of pride. It's shaping up to be a playoff-defining weapon. Buckle up, because if the rumors hold true and Hendrickson hits the ground running, the Bay Area is looking at a defense that could terrorize quarterbacks, flip games on their heads, and make the road to the Lombardi Trophy an even more thrilling spectacle than anyone could have anticipated. The whispers are loud, the hype is justified, and one thing is clear. TREY HENDRICKSON is coming to San Francisco, and the NFC better be ready. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your fellow NFL fans. Stay tuned for more updates, only here on NFL News Now.